Hi everybody, welcome to Dynamo Sword Channel. I'm David, and today on Dynamo Sword Channel, I will be presenting the follow-up review of the Balaur Arms 13th to 14th century longsword. I initially reviewed this sword earlier for the channel, and I feel I've had enough experience with this sword to offer this follow-up review. So, how does this sword perform cutting targets, and what is my opinion on its value to you as a potential buyer? Well, stay tuned and we'll find out. Hi and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the cutting footage. As you can see, the sword did well cutting the lighter targets I used. I sharpened this sword myself and found the edge to be adequately finished. The steel was heat treated well and durable and did not bend or set when cutting. There has been new information brought to light about the steel grade of these initial Balaur Arms models by their vendor Cult of Athena. Oddly, it seems the swords were not in fact made of 5160 high carbon steel as advertised, but rather 1550 or 1572. Originally, the first batch of Balaur Arms swords were made of 1045 high carbon steel, and by the next batch were being sold as 5160, a spring steel highly regarded as being extremely durable when properly heat treated for swords. So the real question is, does not being made of 5160 make these swords obsolete? In my opinion, no. 1550 or 1572 is a structural grade high carbon steel that is more than capable of being used for swords. For example, many Hanwei blades are in fact made with 1566. For example, the Hanwei Iga Ninja Toe I reviewed earlier, as well as much of their practical line of katana. Of course, what really matters aside from good carbon content regarding swords is proper heat treatment. And sadly, some of these Balaur models were reported having poor heat treatment, resulting in bends and warps in the blades. It seems I was one of the lucky ones who received a model with proper heat treatment. As far as the hilt parts, they held up to cutting and there was no looseness or issue with the guard or pommel. The peening was done well and held together. Unfortunately, there was a failure in the handle as the wood core was not properly glued and opened at the seam. I noticed this after cutting and felt and even heard a little tink in regards to the issue when dry handling after cutting. I remedied this by re-gluing the seam and then rewrapped the handle with a linen undercord and a new black leather wrap with a 3 riser configuration, as you can see. As far as the sword's general fit and finish, this sword has held up well during the time that I've owned it. I really like the lightweight and the balance of this sword and enjoy it when practicing forms and cutting. Though it is a little whippy, it does have a nice strong temper that springs true. I think much of the issue with this sword being whippy is due to it having a thinner stock as well as having a stronger distal taper. Though distal taper is sought after for proper weight and balance, when done on blades of thinner stock, it can tend to make blades too flexible and defeat the purpose of distal tapering. This is why I don't give much criticism to swords in the sub $300 range, like windlass for example, who don't offer much distal tapering. Because as a budget sacrifice, much of the swords made are of thinner stock for ease of shaping and mass manufacturing. Sure, these swords won't handle and be balanced as well as swords with proper distal taper, but there is a reason those swords are hundreds of dollars more in price. The wood core scabbard and its leather overwrap have stayed in pretty good shape, though the scabbard fit is still loose. Now, this is something that I could remedy myself with shimming, but still it is definitely a problem as there is no friction fit whatsoever. I mean, for the price point of sub $300, I think this is a great replica of a 13th century war sword of the Type 12A. It has its issues, but for the price, most of these can be dismissed. One last thing I feel that needs to be discussed is that these swords, though still sold under the Balaur Arms brand name, are being forged by a new manufacturer. When Cult of Athena discovered the false claims by the previous manufacturer regarding the steel grades, they set out to find a new manufacturer to produce these in-house designed swords. As I've learned at the time of this video's posting, they went with a manufacturer that has been a staple in the budget European sword market and one that is also a personal favorite of mine, Windlass Steelcrafts. This new batch of Balaur Arms swords, though manufactured by Windlass, will feature the same designs and specifications of previous Balaur Arms swords, but with the guarantee of 1070 high carbon steel blades and a testament to better fit and finish regarding the hilt assembly, grips, and of course scabbards. I'm looking forward to purchasing one of these new Balaur Arms models made by Windlass and comparing it to this model as well as other Windlass swords in my collection. So be on the lookout for that review in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed this follow-up review of the Balaur Arms 13th to 14th century longsword. Be sure to like and subscribe, as well as look forward to future cutting sessions with this sword on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.